Record to cloud. So we are recording. Happy Tuesday. What is this, June 18th? It's the middle of summer. Tons of politics going on. I wanted to make a quick note, and then I'll talk about what Irving had just asked about. I heard somebody, I saw somebody in the chat was talking about middle class, and they were talking about how these politics are, aimed at certain areas of life. And I just really wanted to touch base on something, which is if you guys really want to be part of the 2%ers, okay? And that's from some previous business training from other companies I was with and from many years ago. But if you guys want to be part of the 2%ers, part of the people who are no longer middle class but are so far upper class that they're, untouchables, a lot of that's going to start with mindset. I mean, these politics, whether you love it or hate it, it's good for our industry, it's good for our business, it's good for our bank account, provided you know how to use it. So I posted some little quote on my Facebook, and then I posted it in the group, and all it really says is, biblically speaking, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So if we're speaking death, if we're speaking negativity, if we're speaking as if we're not part of the upper class, as if we're a part of a different class of people, I mean, that kind of qualifies biblically as a whole life and death is in the power of the tongue thing. Sorry to get all preacherous on you guys, but that's like one of those big quotes that always stuck in my mind. So maybe just something to kind of consider as you guys start your training journey and you guys are growing, that you got to speak where you want to go. You have to put life into that and speak life into that, even when it's hard, even when the results aren't there, even when you're growing. Because literally, a lady friend of mine, she is an amazing woman. She grew her very baby account from a very small amount to an insanely large amount in 3.5 weeks. And that was, I just found that out today. So those kinds of things are possible, but it starts with your mindset. And I don't know how else to say that in an intelligent way, but I did want to say that real quick. So you guys just had that in the back of your mind. So does that make sense to everybody?
Amen.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Hey, Jenny, out of curiosity, could you tell us the amount without telling us your friend's name?
Yeah, so she almost hit 7 figures. She withdrew at 900,000. It cost her an insane amount of money to withdraw, like more than some houses cost in some areas of the U.S. That was the fees associated with it, but you're talking big numbers, okay? So she started with a few $100, but she traded it as if, so she started with $300 in real life, but she put $150 in the compounding sheet just so she had that kind of wiggle room, right? And she did it per day. So, which again, I don't recommend because that messes me up, but you're talking in less than a month. And again, the circumstances have not been perfect. Let's be honest. For all of us who have excuses and news and reasons and kids, and I better shut this door real quick. Hold on, this window, because that dog, hold on. Sorry about that, guys. But we all have tons of excuses, right? So you got to think $300 in real life to almost $1 million. I mean, after she saves for taxes and all the fees from withdrawing, she'll probably legit walk away with maybe 6, 7, probably less if she's saving for taxes accurately. But either way, you're talking in a month. In a month. Like, that's what's possible when you learn the skill. When you can stay consistent, when you can change your world. And this is not somebody who's been trading for 5 years. This is not somebody who's been trading for 3 years. She kind of failed for 1.5 years, and then something clicked, but then she was doing that whole, small lot sizes on small accounts and never really compounding. So when we finally went over compounding, like, that's all it took. And that's insane. That's so exciting, though.
It's very inspiring.
It's amazing. Well, I have goosebumps just talking about it. Like, it's exciting and it's amazing. So whoever's asking about what's wrong with Hugo's Way, mine is working. Hey, Edward, sorry.
That's fine.
So listen, mine's working. But what I realized now that I'm past all that quote stuff, I just wanted to tell you guys that maybe click on that quote. I put it in the group. Read it, because life and death is in the power of the tongue. But to get to some of your guys' questions, because I can see the chat today, otherwise maybe somebody can start reading them. There's nothing really wrong with the brokers. I did find out that a lot of the brokers do a lot of their updates over summer. So like some of them, I've had some issues with the affiliate credit stuff. As you guys know, I was doing that here. I'll help you guys, just use an affiliate broker. It costs you nothing. and we both win. But then like most of them weren't going through at all. So it's kind of been a hassle. But I found out that most of the brokers upgrade their MT4 platforms, do all their coding changes, update their websites mostly during the summer because this is the lowest volume time of the year. So there's that could be the issue, number one. And then number two, I spent the weekend at my mother's house actually because I was going to the first round of inspections, and I can't express this in any amount of English terminology, but like she must live in the Bermuda Triangle because literally I couldn't get my VPS to load. None of my brokers would load, even on my brand new computer. Like nothing would load. I couldn't even do a Zoom. Like nothing worked at all until I plugged it in the Ethernet cord. And we called her phone company to find out if we could upgrade her plan. She currently has the highest plan available in that area. So we couldn't even like increase the speeds. But I couldn't have anything load there. So if your guys are having major issues and it's not like a known outage, the first thing to do would be to clean out your computer. These MT4s, whether it be on your computer or on your VPS, they take a lot of room. They take a lot of CPUs, they take a lot of power, a lot of constant connection because this is pulled, I mean, these have minute charts on them. So this is real data being pulled constantly, second by second by second. So just kind of keep that in mind, okay? The strategy she used was close to the flip-flop method. She uses a currency strength indicator with it as well. And then she also uses a little bit of the cloud as well, the Ichimoku cloud. So it's kind of a combination of those three. The indicator called the buy-sell lines it's basically a different version of the daily dots or the SuperEZ SR, version 1, 2, or 3. Buy-sell squares are all the same thing. DSL, yeah, that's my mom's internet. I can't even make this up. I was like super shocked. And I actually own a couple of the houses in that area. So I actually that was the first house I bought, and I rent it out now. But like, that was insane to me that they had no internet. I'm just responding to your guys' chats. Connie, I'll get to you in just a second. And whoever iPhone is, her broker was actually CoinEx. CoinEx has some great fees. They're just super easy to work with. They have the referral side kind of stinks because nobody who's used my referral link has actually gotten credit for it. Like, you have to email them and say, hey, so-and-so email referred me, and this is their email address, or it doesn't work. But other than that, CoinEx takes a good 3 to 5 days to withdraw, sometimes up to 7. But they're got some of the lowest fees and the lowest spreads, so they're really good. And they don't have super high leverage either. So for her to be able to do that with that level of leverage requires some massive skill. And I think that's everyone's. Okay, we will go over compounding here in just a minute, if that's okay. Is there any pairs first off that you guys want to look at first and foremost?
Yeah, Jenny, I want to look at a pair.
Hey, Edwards, how's it going?
Pretty good. How's it going?
Fantastic. Okay, what pair?
I was looking at CAD JPY, but you said US news affects CAD. There's CAD news tomorrow, so.
Yeah, so a lot of these we're waiting. We're only scalping at best. We're going for that, kind of half of the average daily range, or we are just simply got to move our stop loss up. I like this though. See, I missed that move. Well, we messaged about this pair, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Did you catch this pair?
No, I didn't, because I was waiting for the triple. They just came in, so no, I didn't catch it.
But you see this pullback? See this engulfing momentum candle? Okay, you could easily have gotten in, like put a limit order right here. And if it hit it, great, because this candle broke the 50. It's obviously bigger than the last 20 candles. So this is a good buy. Also, it broke the previous buy-sell lines.
Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't get into it because as soon as it broke the 50, you got a resistance dot, that purple dot.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to pull back too far. Hold on, let's see. Depends on what your tolerance for risk is. So if it pulls back by 20 pips, I mean, because this isn't a fast mover.
Yeah.
But see how this is also an engulfing candle?
Yeah, I see that.
I mean, I think it kind of already retested that, but it's got a doji. Hey guys, we got some background noise. Austin, I think that's you, guy. Let's see. It kind of came back and already retested this. Hold on, I'm gonna mute everybody.
Okay.
All right, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
There we go.
Okay, cool. So look, this kind of came back. I don't know why that line is there. Pretty close to 50% of that engulfing candle. See that?
Yeah, I do.
But the thing is, now we kind of have that doji right there, so we don't want to play with it just yet. But there's a good chance this is just going to shoot up.
But what about news coming up? Like, would you stress that out or no? Like, would you worry about it?
How many hours until news?
Let me check.
Well, I have it right here. So the next news is here, and that's for CAD. So that's like literally in 2 hours, 3 hours ish. This is 1 hour chart, and then, yeah, I don't know. I like it. I like that in general. This dot, like, it doesn't mean it's. I like it in general. I like it for the buy.
Remember, I see the 1 hour break to 50. I usually wait for like a supporting dot to go up with it.
Okay, that's a really great, because look, if you did that here, you would have gotten in here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or maybe kind of it broke down. I mean, that's a really good. I like that. I like it a lot. You know that works.
Yeah. For the past 2 weeks, I've taken 9 trades and I've only lost 1. And that one that I lost was like very small. I lost like 8 pips, I think.
How many trades have you taken?
9.
9, and you've lost 1?
Yeah, I've lost 1.
Do you know what that makes your accuracy percentage?
Like what, 75, 80-ish, give or take?
You just disappeared on me. Say it again.
Like around 80-ish, right? 80, give or take.
So you have an 88% accuracy.
That's pretty good.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, and my account been growing pretty good too also. And I'm following the sheet, the $1 million sheet, whatever it is.
So every trade you're compounding?
Yeah.
88% accuracy with patience. Way to go. I'm so glad that it's helping.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I mean, you can help that a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll do, and then like I said, after you get past that first week or two of kind of going over from our one-on-one, like we can kind of revisit. So write down all the questions you have, and then we'll kind of revisit all those topics and see what we can improve to get that last smidgen of that percentage. But 80% accuracy, if you're using even a remotely reasonable risk to reward ratio, I mean, you can literally compound your account in insane amounts of time.
Well, like I said, I usually wait for the dots to go with it, like right there. My stop loss would have been like right above that. So I'm risking like so little.
That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. Way to go.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny.
That is awesome. Oopsie, hold on here.
Can we look at Euro JPY also or no?
Okay, cool. Let's look at that real quick. 1 second here. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm dropping it on my chart. Kind of to disappear there for a second. I made money on this one today. I forget what I did with it, but that was just on the 10 pips.
Oh, okay.
So I bought it like around here.
I was looking at this one, but I was waiting for it to break the 50.
Yep, I bought it here according to the flip flop method.
Okay.
Because it was like right where the 8 and 18 crossed. I had a big arrow, parabolic stars flipped, ADX was flipped, and of course we had this is your not as safe entry, but it's still, you know, reasonably accurate. And since I'm only going for 10 pips and this is a reasonable mover, that was perfect. I did not take any swing trades this week at all. I just don't know if it's worth it because there's too much news going on.
That's nice. I took NZD CAD and that's about it. I took NZD CAD just for a buy, and I took profit on that, and that's the only trade I've taken all week.
That's awesome. Hey, you are establishing so much patience and growth. I am super honored and proud of you. You've come a long way in the last few weeks, so way to go.
Yeah, I have. I've learned a lot.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to get to, let's see. Anybody who has a question, I can't always see the chat, so let's see if I can see. This one doesn't have well, maybe it does have a raise your hand thing. I will go over the average daily range. Okay, the news indicator is not, that's part of a different group. Sorry guys, it's a paid for group that you get to pay for monthly. it's not. There's some other ones you guys can use that were posted in the group. I will go over the ADR, and I will go over GA and EA. So in terms of the average daily range, this is basically saying on average, this pair moves this many pips per day this week. On average, this pair moves this many pips per day in the last 4 weeks, and so on. The cool thing about that is I actually used to get this information from investing.com. So I used to actually have to go look for this information somewhere else. But one of the members in the group did share this with me, and I thought it was like life-changingly awesome because like what the gentleman who was just talking, there's a couple of them that have done super well that when you get all the confirmations, trying to go for 50% of the average daily range is literally like a 90% accuracy trading system. So when you get your triple arrows or whatever confirmations, this is, yeah, that's the right chart. So we had our triple arrows here, kind of broke the 50, came back and did a pullback. We have new 4-hour dots. You have enough confirmations here to take the trade, right? Almost anytime you have enough confirmations, it may not be a swing trade forever. It may not be the one that gives you 400, 500 pips, but it will like 97% of the time give you at bare minimum approximately 50% of this average daily range. So I kind of underplay it a little bit. So if this one says 30, depending on what my spread is, I might go like 27, just to kind of help with that spread. And the accuracy on that, when you have enough confirmations to take the trade, is intensely high, intensely high. That when because even if it's a pullback, the cool thing about using this is even if it's a pullback, the odds that it's going to pull back half of the daily range is very, very high. Not always. That's why we still use a trailing stop, and that's why we still move our stop loss into profit. But that's what this is. So any one of these pullbacks, this is a selling market, and even this pullback definitely came close to almost 100% of that, and it usually does. So you can take this really ugly, choppy pullback. It is not desirable. It is not a perfect example because everyone wants to show perfect examples, but I'd rather show you the real market. Even on this one went to that wick, 39 pips. So could you have gotten half of the daily range on this pair on an ugly pullback against the trend? Yes, you could. Just so that's kind of what that is. Let's go to the chat. Is that the ADR? So that ADR indicator is called bar alert, and it's in the notification channel, and it's also in the group. I will do, let's see. And I'm reading through your questions. Okay, Irving, are you still there? You can unmute yourself if you're there. Okay, well, he was asking about the ADX. So again, guys, what we're looking for is this right here is a clean crossover of the sellers and the buyers, right? Our momentum is facing up and our sellers are facing up. That is what we're looking for to take the trade, is whatever direction you're looking to take it is facing up as well as the momentum. Preferably you want the momentum definitely above the 20, maybe, you know, around the 25. That's your cleanest setup is right here, if you guys can see where my mouse is. Over here, you also have a touch and reject. Okay, I would take this as a ADX signal as well, provided that the momentum line was pointing up. As you guys can see, the momentum comes up. It's really hard to see it. I see it because I've worked with this for a while, but this momentum spikes up prior to the big drop. So this momentum spikes up. If you guys can see that over here, this is where it peaked out on the momentum, right? You guys can see where that candle is. The momentum peaks up prior to the actual drop. So this is the actual momentum drop. So when momentum is facing up, it's, I don't want to say it's predictive, but the way I've learned to use it is when this happens, you guys can follow it. This doesn't follow price like RSI does, or like the price. This is what actual price is doing, is the purple and green lines. This momentum line is different. It's actually the momentum in the market. So it spiked up here technically, but it wasn't a huge move here. Well, this was the momentum move, and notice how that happened after it peaked. This happened after it peaked, and kind of when you learn to use it that way, you'll learn that, okay, this is peaking up, something big is about to happen. So hold on, this is where it peaked on my ADX, right? And then high amount of momentum. So that's not the momentum, this is. See, that's double the move. So that's kind of how I use it. Does that answer your question, Irving? In terms of the momentum line? Let's see if I can find you in here. Where are you at? Team with Irving. Irving, what's your name on here? Peekaboo. Okay, so how do you change the 4-hour dots? So somebody with an iPhone is asking that question. All you're doing is you're dragging and dropping the SuperEZ dots onto your chart 2 times, and then you literally just change the settings. So right here, we have the settings set at 4 hours. On one of them, you would set it to day 1, and on one of them, you would have it set to 4 hours. And then you would have 2 sets of daily dot, well, 1 set of daily dots and 1 set of 4-hour dots. I hope that answers your question. Let's see, can you do a brief overview on, so whoever is his iPhone, can you unmute so you can tell me what you mean?
Can you check EG, please?
EG is growing. You said it dropped. You made a fortune on that today, huh?
Oh my God, it's good. I like it. I think it's finally dropping.
This is one of the highest. Yep, that's it. See that big candle, you guys? This is what you're waiting for. Everybody's been trying to sell it for all this time.
Look
Notice
at
something you didn't see?
The ADX is looking great. It's just meant to be.
He says it's meant to be. Let's see. When did you get in?
I got right on the top on the big arrow.
Oh, you got it. Well,
Right there. And I'm not moving.
you caught the top. Have you trimmed any off?
I'm sorry?
Have you trimmed any of your profits off?
No, because I'm not worrying about it. I'm gonna leave it for a long term. Hopefully it will not do a pullback. But even I'm doing a trailing stuff, but kind of like tight. But my goal is hopefully it can drop, a couple hundred pips. But right now, so far, it's sitting in a nice profit. So.
That's awesome. Way to go. That was a good catch. Hey guys, so if you're looking for a pair to trade, this obviously has a lot of GBP news coming out. But aside from the news, as long as you're keeping a tight stop loss, you have one huge engulfing candle. So notice how this candle engulfs like the last 20-ish candles, right? This engulfing candle, this is what you're looking for. And as per usual, what do we see? It came back approximately 50% of the size of that engulfing candle, the momentum candle, the power candle, and then it dropped again. And now we have another engulfing candle and it broke the 50. So that was a power break. That wasn't like a play around the 50 break. See of all this, this is all a play around the 50 break, right? These are not the same things. These are all just play around the 50. That's it. Okay, well there's that, but couldn't really retest. So you've got 2 of them back to back. We're waiting for a pullback, maybe approximately from here, maybe 10, you could even say 15, 17 pips at the most. And then I'd be looking to sell. Okay, hey, Irving, do you see the average daily low on your chart? I don't have it on this chart.
I'm sorry, I'm doing 2 things at the same time. I was looking at my chart. Can you repeat your question?
No problem. Do you see the average daily low on your chart or no?
Yes, it's 88692. That's what you're talking about?
Let me just put it on here real quick.
I had that. It's pretty good.
Well, when it breaks the 50, take it into the ADR low.
88682. Yeah, that's something.
It works like a charm.
Yeah.
I think you could easily get 40 pips out of it pretty safely. I mean, there's the news, so you have to be mindful of that. But if you're up and you're trading London, wait for a pullback. That's a good sell.
Yep.
That is a good sell. Good job.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
You are welcome. Okay, well, what was the other pairs you guys wanted to look at? Let me check the chat.
Quick question, Jenny.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing great.
Good.
I looked away from the screen for just a second. So basically, you said if it does break the 50, you can anticipate it going down to hit the the low of the day?
That's market theory. Like anything else, a lot of that stuff is good in theory. I do trade that way. So I would use this average daily range and this ADR, high and low. So if, for instance, you got to think back here, this resets every day at market open, right? So right here, we've got another big arrow. This one's not so great of an example, but the last one was a great example. If it breaks the 50 and kind of comes up and retests, so this broke this previous support, right? It's just a different way of trading. You've got, so how many things can I see on this chart to give me confluence to say it's selling? We have a bullish momentum, a bearish momentum candle. We have our triple arrows, daily and 4-hour support. Our money tree string line, it broke the 50 and then had another momentum candle, and neither of them came back up and retested. That would make me a little weary, to be honest. But if it comes back and pulls up a little bit, I'd be looking to sell this down to the ADR low. Even the fact that it broke right here, so it broke its previous low, and actually right now, it's stalling out on this support. See this support? It's stalling out here. If it breaks that, oh yeah, I'm definitely taking this to the ADR low, period.
Okay. And you said basically that would be after a pullback, or it doesn't necessarily have to pull back?
And well, if I had all those answers, I mean, life would be a different story.
Right.
There's no way to know that.
Right.
In my experience and what I was taught, and I think that one thing that helps me see the market is these big momentum candles, price usually comes back up about 50%. It did not do that here. So I would hope that it would come up to here. I would hope that it would at least retest this one. But it's moving down really strong. I don't know what Odd is doing. I don't know if Odd had news or maybe New Zealand did. I don't remember for sure. But either way, something happened to push this hard. I personally want to see it kind of come up to here, at least 30 pip pullback. It's probably not going to. Because you got to think the moving average, this 50 moving average is going to keep moving down, right? So granted, we don't know what we don't know, but assume the 50 moving average would be approximately here. So that's about 30 pips away. And we've got a big arrow, so I wouldn't be selling this for just yet, but.
Right. And Jenny, your trailing stop loss is generally how many pips on the 1 hour when you do the 1 hour?
On the 1 hour, I mean, again, it really is dependent on this. So if I'm trading a GBP pair where like Euro Odd is a faster mover, you need to give this more room to move. So I'd say at least, 25, 30 pips, give or take. If you're trading some of those other pairs that only move like 40 pips, 50 pips, you might want to have that one set at 15 or 20.
Okay.
Yes, let's see. Yes, I will drop the ADR indicator in the group, John.
Thank you, Jenny.
You are welcome, Mike. You are welcome. All right, let's look at Euro NZD. I traded this as well. This one was the first to drop. That was beautiful. So this is on the 1 hour chart. I was scalping this according to the flip-flop strategy. But this was beautiful. So it broke past this previous support, came back up and retested it. I don't like how his Wickinger has that arrow. Yeah, this was a great trade. Whoever was asking about that, let's see. High and low, I can put in the indicator, the channel. Hey, who is that speaking up?
That was me, Edward.
Hey, how's it going, Edward?
Pretty good. What is the flip-flop method? I never used it. I'm just curious of how does that work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, ask your question again. I didn't hear you.
The flip-flop method, how does that work? I never use it. I just swing, but I'm just curious.
So this, I don't love scalping. I only do this, so a long time ago, hold on, wait for that beeping to stop. Okay, so a long time ago, I learned the bounce back with IMO and of course use the web analyzer. So I do have some scalping strategies, a lot of them that work. The whole risk to reward concept is usually the issue. This is a scalping strategy that kind of is a cross between everything that I had learned, some of Irving's ideas, who's on the call right now. He was having a lot of success with it. We just kind of put our heads together and created this in a way to get 10 pips. And clearly that's going to work better on your faster movers. Some of them are hold on real quick. My daughter's telling me she's going to take this dog for a walk. So I'm babysitting a dog. I'm house sitting, well, not house sitting, I'm dog sitting for my best friend, and this dog is the most loving dog ever, but she's not so good around dogs. So if my daughter tries to walk this dog, that dog is going to outpower her. Anyways, they're going to be flying down the road. I'm going to hear like police sirens. Okay, I'm back. I had to message that real quick. So here's how the strategy works. Notice I do have the fractals on here. This is something you can do from your phone, which was kind of Irving's concept of it. And Pat currently is working on a way to get these daily dots, get to a dashboard essentially. But it needs to be effective for you guys. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this or not, but he has been working and testing 1,000 different things. A lot of them are just, they're subpar, and he doesn't want to give you guys something that's subpar. So he is constantly trying to figure this out to give you guys something that is going to give you the alert on your phone for when the dot appears. And he's pretty close, so as soon as he's done with that, he'll let you guys know. But the concept is you wait for the dots, the support dots either on the 4-hour or on the day 1, and you're looking for enough confirmations. So this isn't another video, but to really quickly go over the rules, you want it to break the 50 RSI, set at 10, which is slightly faster. You want, well, I don't typically use this on here if you want the truth. You want a clean crossover of the colors, so the buyers and the sellers, the negative DI and positive DI. You also want momentum to be facing up. Your faster entry, so taking just this chart that we're already on, your fastest entry is right here, where the 8 and 18 cross. Buyers are in control, momentum is up. We broke the 50 and retested it. You're taking it for 10 pips. Bear in mind, this only works on tight spread brokers, and also keep in mind, some pairs don't move that much. So trying to go for a full 10 pips on a pair that only moves like 38, you might want to, simmer that down a little. But could you have gotten 10 pips out of this? Add a couple for your spread? Absolutely. So this is one entry.
Will this work with Hugo's Way or no? That's what I use.
Hugo's Way is good, yeah. I mean, Hugo's Way is good enough, to be honest. CoinEx is the tightest spread, but Hugo's Way kind of balances out like anything else. The spread, the commissions and stuff, but since you're not holding it, the swaps on Hugo's Way really won't touch it because you're not really holding the trades. So the entry that I would take and the entry that I take the most is this entry.
50
So
break, when it breaks the 50.
Yes, when it breaks the 50. And this is on the 15. Oopsie, this is a horrible example. I'll delete these so I can give you a more accurate one. You're going to want to be using the 15-minute time frame because you want to, this is supposed to be fast. Let it load. So it didn't look right, but I couldn't figure out why. Right here, give or take somewhere in here, is going to be your crossover of the 8 and 18. And we'll see that it broke the 50, retested it. We'll see the buyers are in control. Momentum is facing up, maybe not at this very second, so we'd want it to be facing back up. So somewhere in here, that would be one entry you can take. This is what we consider the faster entry. Just so you guys know, it is slightly less accurate by anywhere from 5 to 10%. However, it's got a tighter spread. So you have to kind of pick what kind of trader you want to be. The next entry is this one. Again, you're going to have a bigger stop loss, part of the real world here, but you have a more confirmed move. So this is about 5 to 10% more accurate. And again, same story. Buyers are in control in terms of the ADX. Momentum is facing up, which means money is coming into the market. The RSI is above the 50 and staying above the 50. That's all we're looking for. And on either one of these moves, could you have gotten your 10 pips? Yes. You have to give it room to play. The only way the strategy or any scalping strategy, if you're asking me, is going to work well for you is if you always move your stop into profit. Because technically, any scalping strategy requires a slightly larger stop loss than a take profit, which is rule 101 on trading, right? Rule 101 on trading is your risk to reward should be at very, very minimum of 1-to-1. So that's why you kind of have to decide what kind of trader you are. I like this one because I don't mind the bigger stop because technically you want a little more wiggle room anyways in case the spread widens. You want a little more wiggle room anyways in case there's a pullback. So for me, I'd rather take the more accuracy with the higher stop loss for 2 reasons. My first reason is I almost always move my stop loss into profit. So I rarely get a stop loss hit. And secondly, most of these trades with the tighter stop loss, like there was a gentleman in the group talking about something and 10 pips. The problem with that is that can get hit just on like session crossover kind of thing. This can knock you out even though the price never got near this, just during the session crossover. So like from Asian to London, London to New York, the smallest thing can knock you out of a 10 pip stop loss.
Oh, okay.
So it's very accurate. It works. I put the fractals on here because just like the buy sell lines, sorry, let me delete these real quick. When price breaks previous support, so it broke this previous high, it broke it on this candle, and this broke the 50, we're definitely in buyer territory. So
what are you setting for your parabolic SARs? That's what it's called, right? Your white dots.
Yep, so these are set at 0.05. I don't know why I don't think this chart's saved. I told you guys I had some issues with the AFX and the updates. Just for some reason, if I log into the same broker on a different platform, somehow that works just fine. But who knows? So the parabolic SARs are set at 0.05 and 0.02. If you're doing it on your phone, it would be 0.05, 0.02, 0.02, I think. Maybe that's TradingView.
I was thinking about only using this whenever there's like a high news week, and I'm only going to trade in the direction of like the 1 hour arrows. If that makes sense.
That makes a ton of sense, actually. That's
Yeah.
A lot of people do that. So if you're only going with the trend on the 1 hour chart, that's super wise. So that means
I just don't think it's smart to trade against the 1 hour on the 15 minutes. So I mean, I'm probably going to use this strategy for that reason.
no, that's awesome. Well, because look, that means you'd be skipping this one, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, because right here on the 1 hour, this is a downtrend. So we can assume that somewhere in here it crossed down on the 15 minute, crossed down on the 15 minute, and it crossed down. So you would know that this is a seller's market. You'd only be looking for sells. And the cool thing is, this isn't technically, I mean, again, it's still the market. You can't control that. But this isn't going to recross over and go down if it's not actually going to continue its trend. So right now it's going up. When it actually breaks the 50 on the 1 hour, again, you want a momentum break. You want a powerful break, not a tickle me Elmo kind of break. So then, yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'll probably use this whenever there's like a high week news. Next week there isn't too much news.
Thank heaven, there's a bunch this week.
Tomorrow there's a lot of news for Wednesday.
Yes, there is. So I'm going to get back to the questions in the chats here. Where do you find the daily dots to drop on the charts?
Thank you, Jenny.
You're welcome. From B to everyone, the daily dots are basically the SuperEZ SR, and then you drag it and drop it on the chart 2 times, and you label one of them the daily and one of them the 4 hour. And the guy or person before that who said, whose iPhone, the confirmation list for the 10 pip flip on a document has actually been created. I made the video, and Irving actually made the PDF. As far as I know, we had to update it a couple of times to make sure we were in Confluence, and we both do have a relatively reasonable life outside of trading. So Pat, I believe, was working on getting it on the website as soon as is possible. So we need a fact section in the group. Justin, I don't even know what you mean, but you can by all means tell me. You want the control Y. You want the control Y on here? There you go. So who wanted the daybreaker on here? To Connie.
Charles.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just want to see around what time. I mean, I know it's London and New York, but I just want to see around what time everything was popping off. So whenever you're actually saying about right here, I can look and be like, okay, maybe around this time for New York and London.
Gotcha. So we just got a crossover right here on gold. I just got an alert. We have a crossover of the 8 and 18. It's breaking the 50. Keep in mind, Trump is talking or just got done talking, and the US dollar has been nuts. We've got US oil coming out for tomorrow, which will affect Canada, FOMC, and interest rates. Interest rates, the problem. I don't think FOMC is. But this breaking, again, with momentum, this would probably be a good enough trade to take for, let's see how many pips. Let's go to our actual triple arrow chart and drag this on here. You'll notice that the crossover of the money tree string line kind of happens slightly before the crossover of the 8 and 18, but it's kind of sweet. This candle has 19 more minutes. If it closes below the 50, I would look to sell this, at least for 100 pips.
You wouldn't worry about the red news?
I would worry about tomorrow. So I would worry about it, but luckily in our time, let's see, so we have how many candles? One. So this is at 4 o'clock. The one that actually matters is, that's 8 hours from now. So depending on what your schedule is like, if you can be up to kind of watch that, I mean, that's up to you. Let's see. I don't know why I can't see more candles. Not bad. The FOMC shouldn't do a whole bunch, although we're going to have a lot of political uncertainty because we're going to have strong campaigning. When Trump campaigns, he campaigns big and he campaigns differently than previous presidents. And if you watch that and you learn, I know like 2%, so I'm not an expert at all. But if you watch that, you'll watch kind of what happens with the US dollar. You'll notice that US 30 has been going up pretty much since 2018. It's definitely due for a drop. We'll see if we get it. But if you wanted to have a super tight stop loss and you were trading throughout the news, this is the kind of setup you'd be looking for. If you're willing to trade the news. If you're avoiding the news, you have to avoid this pair because the US dollar gold will be affected by that interest rate decision. It will be affected. There's a very slim chance that it won't. So, but I'm saying this is a good trade because if we look at what we have our 8 and 18 cross according to the parabolic, the flip-flop method. We have triple arrows going down. It retested to kind of form what they call a double top or an M. We've got parabolic stars saying sell, money tree string line, another 5 and 13 cross. That's what that yellow arrow is. We're breaking
Lower
the
lows.
Huh?
Lower lows. Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good. You do. You have lower lows. But I like how, I don't like where the momentum is facing, but that's also due to the time of day. We're an Asian market. That's why I don't take a lot of trades on this call. This call was meant to hit the people who couldn't be in Pat's call and just to give some education and to be available. So, but this isn't like a perfect time of day to trade. Once I'm all set up in Florida and I'm good to go, I will change the time of this class where we can actually do active trading. So, but Pat and I already talked about that. So, but we have a clean cross. And again, remember what I said about the momentum? Momentum happens and then something moves in general, not always. None of this is always. We have a clean cross and we have momentum coming down. If you wanted the safest trade, you'd want this candle to close below the 50 and you'd want MACD to be below the 50. Let's go to the other strategy here. This is officially below the 50. And so I like that. I like that a lot. This would be a good trade to take. It would. I mean, the news, you have to decide if you're willing to chance that because the interest rate could pop it back up. And you've got to realize that everybody and their mama is looking to sell this pair, just like with anything else. When Euro Odd had currency strength, that one app told everybody, hey guys, sell Euro Odd. What did it do? It popped up by 40 pips, right? So if you're going to have a tight stop loss, this one's not going to work. There's a good chance because everyone's looking to sell this, it'll pop up again. But this would be a good trade other than the news. So you decide if you're going to be a news trader or not at the end of the day. I just dropped the PDF. In the group, hey Irving, was that all approved by Pat or does he have it on the website yet? Do you know?
I don't know. I just sent him the file, so he asked me again to send them over. So
Hey, did you update it like with the 50 EMA and the 10 RSI
yes,
and ADX?
yes.
You're my hero. Thank you.
So I just sent it over to him. So
Thank you.
I have a different file for the RSI. They give you a reading for all the time frame for 1 hour, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 4 hours, and daily.
Are you in front of your computer?
Yeah, probably I would drop the thing is that I had to explain the whole thing. Maybe
Hey, do you want to share your screen real quick?
hold on. I was making a PDF to drop it on the chat. let me make the PDF and then probably everyone can see it as well.
All right, cool.
Okay.
I'll let you do that and I'll be patient. I
Jenny,
got the stochastic indicator that will show you different time frames, and I think it's kind of sweet because trading the oscillator at a higher time frame. So like if I'm trading on the 1 hour chart and I wait for the 4 hour cross of the 50, that's power move right there. That's money in the bank. So I don't know if that's the same thing Irving's talking about, but I've got a stochastic indicator that, like, if I'm on the 1 hour chart, it's showing me the 4 hour stochastic. If I'm on the 15-minute chart, it's showing me the 30-minute stochastic. And that is awesome sauce. It's amazing. Let's see, John, you had asked how to use the money tree string line with the flip-flop. You can use anything you want with the flip-flop. So right now I'm on the flip-flop strategy. I do have the day chart on here, the daily breakers on here. But here, we'll put this on real quick, the money tree string. All it is another piece of confirmation. It's actually a slightly faster one. It's slightly faster than the 8 and 18. So this crossed here, and the 8 and 18 didn't cross until this candle. Do you see that, John?
Yeah, that's John. Yeah, I can see that. Thanks.
So you were looking for enough confluence. When, as traders, what we're doing here, I'll go to the 15-minute chart because that's how we're supposed to be using it. And you can use it on any time frame. You can use it in conjunction with the triple arrows. The 8 and 18, Pat's original triple arrows actually used to have the 9 and 18, and then his uncle's Pappy system went to the 35. So all these EMAs, they're all relevant. It's just a matter of which one your eyes see best and which ones you like best. But same concept. This right here crossed before this crossed. This color changed. Do you see that? And then same thing over here. Well, that's kind of choppy. We wouldn't know what we don't know there. So let's go to a different area. This, we had a parabolic stars cross. We had a clean crossover of the MACD. I'll try to use my crosshairs so you guys can see. And where am I? We broke the 50 right here. And it even came back and retested. We have a clean crossover and the momentum starts facing up and then the buyer's line starts facing up, right? And that's awesome. So we have 1, 2, 3, if you count it that way, 4 with the parabolic stars, and then 5 with the money tree string to say, take this for your 10 pips. And you could have gotten that even on the 15-minute chart. And this happened here. You got to think you probably didn't see it immediately. We're all human, so let's give ourselves a little room. And this happened here. You wouldn't have known this actually crossed until here. So this actually, you had enough confirmations on this point to take it. Again, your best and safest move is when it breaks the 50, kind of retest a little bit. It does not always retest, but it broke the 50, so you would take it here on the second candle after it closed above the 50. You got to give room for spread, but you would have got your pips, period. Does that answer your question? And in terms of like using the fractals or the SuperEZ SR, it broke this fractal. It broke the previous high. And notice how it broke it with momentum. It broke it with power. This right here, that's another confirmation. Do you guys see this fractal right here? These are fractals. These are Bill Williams fractals. All that is they're kind of a really choppy, messy form of support and resistance. So when it breaks the previous fractal, then you have enough momentum for a move. So all of these are entries. You guys can't say that you don't see these setups because here's an entry with the money tree string. Again, everything's lining up. You have enough confirmations. Here's an entry. Again, your RSI is above the 50, so this is buying market. Your buyer's line is facing up, momentum is facing up. In this case, we have our money tree string in the buyer color, and of course a clean crossover. We've got a momentum candle break of the fractal by this one right here and on this one. And of course over here we broke the 50 with momentum. So if we got it on this candle, even if we got it on the tippy top, so the worst spot, if we got it on the very worst spot, that's still enough to cover your spread and to take this trade for 10 pips. This is still enough.
Jenny, are the moving averages exponential or simple?
I always use exponential, though it is personal preference. You should really look into that of what you like.
Well, the exponential are faster, aren't they?
Exponential are faster, but they're not as smooth. So there's 3 different kinds of moving averages. I wouldn't dare to try to explain that in a simplistic way, because an SMA, it counts price differently than an EMA. I like EMAs because it's faster, it follows price a little bit more closely. And then of course you have your third option, which is a weighted SMA or an EMA. So I guess it's 4 options. But yeah.
Okay. Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Yes. I have my bar alert in my navigator. However, I'm unable to load it to my chart. Is it any way that you can flash the specs up real fast and so I can screenshot it with my phone?
Yeah, I'm trying to save that. Hey, Irving, will you send me that file?
Let me send it to you right away.
Do you have both of them, the new RSI scanner one and the new multiple time? Oh, did you say put 3 things in here or 2?
No,
3.
the two. I'm gonna send you the RSI, the one that have multiple time frames. I think it's awesome because if you're looking into 4 hours, you can see what is the 50-minute, 1 hours are doing. So, and all you want to do is wait for the crossover of the 50 line on the RSI to take the trade. So it's pretty neat.
Okay, let me close this and see if that even downloaded real quick. Minimize this. All right, Mike, let me answer your question in just a second. I think that might have saved it to my VPS. Oh, maybe, we'll see. Okay, so you wanted me to go to what, Mike?
The bar alert, and could you just flash the specs for me on screen, and I'm going to take a screenshot of it.
Yes, sir.
I'm unable to attach it to my chart.
You're not. Do you have too many versions in there?
No, just one.
Okay. Well, I've made that mistake. Trust me, you.
Okay.
Made that mistake more than once. Okay, so I don't have it to where it shows me the pips, and the reason why is because it only counts the last trade you entered. So like if you have multiple trades entered, it won't show you them all. So I have alerts as no, and then show pips I have no. I should have it as no right there. Of course, you need your DLL imports.
All right.
And then there's that. Colors, I didn't pick it. Visualization.
Okay, now the visualization. Could you go back to that real fast, please?
All time.
Yeah, mine looks like that. I was just wondering why all the boxes weren't checked, but as I can see, they don't need to be.
Wait, do you have background is dark on, or is your background light maybe, or?
Well, I tried it a few different colors because my screen is black, background is black. So I know if I put that in as black, it would just blend in and I wouldn't see it. So tried a few different colors, but
Wait,
I'll probably be able to pull it up. Yep, I'll be able to pull it up now that I have a screenshot of all the specs. I'm sure.
Okay, awesome. Worst case scenario, uninstall it. You're welcome. Like you can uninstall it and then reinstall it. So refresh the browser, all of it, and then see if that works. Because sometimes when we're transferring files, this is still just technology. It is not a perfect system. So when you drag on the chart, sometimes stuff just gets miscoded. I mean, you could have a slow connection that day. There could be 1,000 things. So that works for me sometimes.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir. Okay. Let me go back to the chat. Who has the next question?
Hi, Jen.
Hey, who's this?
Connie.
Hey, Connie, how are you?
Good, and you?
Wonderful. Blessed and highly favored, right?
I have a couple of questions here. Now, the same thing is happening with the bar alert. I can't get it to work. I have downloaded 5 different versions, and none of them is working for me. So I don't know if the 5 versions are the wrong ones. I have no clue, but I've tried it several ways and just does not pop up on my chart.
Okay, so like I just told the gentleman before you, first order of business would be to delete all the versions you have refresh your navigator. So you would come here and you would hit refresh.
I did that.
Okay, delete them all, and then grab the one from the Telegram notification group and drag and drop it on your chart. Were you able to get a screenshot of those? Of the settings that I just showed the gentleman? So I showed Mike?
Oh, no.
So take a screenshot of this. Let's make sure that it's all set up properly.
Okay, let me get my phone here. Okay, so this is the first page.
This is input. It'll say up here, this is highlighted.
Okay. And then the next one.
Common.
I got that. And then colors. Colors.
Colors.
Okay, it's black. Okay.
Visualization.
That's all time frames. Okay, I got that one. And then my next question is, thank you for that. I'll try to work on it tonight.
All right, cool.
Okay, so what I was trying to do was, I'm so confused on the dots, on the triple arrow system. Like on Sunday, I got my list, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 pairs that had either green dots or they had the big arrow. But how do you, I mean, sometimes you look at the dot, the daily dot, and then right behind it, there's another support. You have the resistance, you have the support. So, I mean, which way do you go? I tried the first way, which is going with the first dot on the daily. And then I tried to go to a lower time frame. Then I see both of them. I see a support and I see a resistance. So in between is just too, I mean, it's too long to trade. Does that make sense? I mean, my question making sense.
No, you're good. Okay, so let's look at an actual pair. So you're saying you picked out 7 pairs and they looked good, but then you got a little confused. So let's go to one that you actually looked at so we can analyze it together.
Okay, sure. The Euro USD.
Okay, this is a very good pair to master. Low spreads, great pair.
Okay.
Okay, so you saw this trade. When did you see it? Do you know?
On Sunday. So are you on the daily?
I'm on the hour.
No, I was on the day. I saw it on the daily.
Okay, I don't trade the daily, but so on the daily, if you're going to trade the daily.
No, I trade the daily, but I saw the dot.
Okay, so you see the support and resistance dot, right?
And then I dropped down to the lower time frame.
Which time frame?
To the 1 hour.
Okay. So that looks good on the daily because we can talk about, I didn't bother to talk about what we saw on the daily. But on the daily, let's pretend like we can't see everything on the 1 hour. On the daily, we have triple arrows, right? We have our buyer's pressures above the 0 line, so it's all saying buy. However, we have a crossover, momentum starting to go down, which on the daily chart, that's a lot. I mean, this is not a fast mover, so let's go ahead and try. I mean, that's 3 times the ADR. And I think that even there was another gentleman in the group, once the price moves 3 times the ADR, it has to pull back. That's kind of industry, one of those things, if you will. Okay, sorry, I was waiting for that to stop beeping. We got another alert on gold. So, but if we look at the daily, we see that there's resistance. We see that it might be turning around. But keep in mind, the daily is still saying this is selling. We have a big momentum candle that broke the 50. We have wicks to the upside, which when you learn to read actual candles, that's what this is telling us. We have wicks to the upside. And we have some buyer's pressure. And of course, there's a lot of news and a lot of play in the market this week. Wicks to the upside again, but we have a momentum candle going down. So if I were to look at the daily, that's what I would see. And now if I click down to the 1 hour, I sold this. Were you looking to buy it or sell it?
Oh, on the I was going to buy it because the first, so if, look, let's go back to the 4 hours, please.
Okay.
Okay, so on the 4 hours, I saw the big arrow, and then I saw the green dot. It gave me 1 dot. So that's what I was going with. So I decided to go ahead and take that dot and then to the lower time frame, to the 1 hour.
Okay, so now we're on the 4 hour.
I was on the daily to the 1 hour. So you see this big arrow here? Can you come back all the way? This big arrow here? Right. Before this second arrow came up, I went with the dot where the parabolic start begins. Yeah. No, the big arrow. No, the big arrow is there. So before the second arrow came up, I saw the big arrow, and then I went with the dot, and then I dropped down to the lower time frame.
Okay. So now you see, again, if we're going to count the confirmations, we'd have a break here, but not until, this is the 4 hour chart. So this wouldn't have been ready until back here, give or take. Okay, well, plus you only have 2 arrows here, but okay. And these big wicks, that's scary to me. I try to avoid those. So now let's go to the 1 hour. Keep them, but did you not notice, well, that hadn't happened yet? You're saying, okay, so let's go to the 1 hour.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
I was mistaken. I was looking at this cell.
No,
But that hadn't happened yet when you saw it, so let's let this load. Okay, and we're in the 1 hour now, okay? And that was over here. Here, yeah? Okay. No, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so what about it? Then what did you do?
Oh, I bought it, and then I came out again. So I just made 5 pips, but I was kind of concerned that I should have left it to go all the way to the next arrow.
Okay, so remember this. You can't go broke taking profits, okay? You'll never go broke taking profits, and we'll just say that 1,000 times. So never regret a trade you closed in profit, even if you missed the $1 million move. If you closed in profit and not negative, you did the right thing, okay? So you missed this big move is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, but you caught pips? Or help me understand your question so I can help you.
Okay, like you know how it says, I mean, Pat says, if you see the daily dots, you know, so I was really working with the dots. I was working with the triple arrows and anything. I just went to the 4 hours. I saw one, the green bar, the big one, and then I saw the green dot. And so I took the trade right there on the 1 hour.
Okay. So you took the trade, but what's your question?
My question is the bars. It's really confusing me. If you're not using the triple and you just go with the bars, is that going to be a successful move all the time? Because I didn't wait for the 3 hours. I mean, the 3 hours. I just saw the dot because it was always talking about the daily dot. So I took the daily dot and I dropped to the next time frame, and then I took the trade. So my question is, when do we actually use the bar, this dots, this when they have the triple arrows or when they just have the 1 arrow? Does that make sense?
So I think I understand what you're saying. I think you're trying to decipher between the Stairmaster and the swing trading strategy. So we have a multitude of strategies within this group. And for some people, it gets a little overwhelming for the people who've never heard about trading. And I apologize for that. But here's the reality. we need a couple of different strategies in order to teach a couple of different kinds of people, right? So now that I've kind of disclaimed that a little bit, the triple arrow system, it depends on what rules you're following. You can decide, and that has to be up to you based off of what your eyes see the best. So in this case, let's zoom out this way a little bit. I don't know what's all on your chart, but let's just assume it's somewhere comparable to mine. You have the MACD, the ADX, triple arrows, and then of course daily dots, maybe the 50 moving average, money trade string line. So of all this right here, you probably have about 15 different confirmations you can choose. Again, I don't know for sure what's on your chart. So now the question that you need to ask yourself, Connie, is how many confirmations out of my rules do I want to follow? Let's see. How many of my rules do I want to follow? So this is obviously one. You have a crossover the MACD. We want to wait preferably for the break of the zero, but we have a crossover of we're waiting for the green crossover. So this right here, right? We have a crossover of the ADX buyer's line. So this is 1, 2. We have daily and 4-hour support dots. We have 1 arrow, 2 arrow, 3 arrows. So that's 7, money trade string line is 8, 50 moving average is 9, an engulfing candle is 10, the break of support and resistance. So you're talking about these dots right here. So you got out of the trade, right?
You see the purple dot up there?
Yep.
Up there.
Gotcha. So,
so he was talking this morning, I keep saying, well, this is not step. No, this one will be the other one. I mean, how does he know? Is it because the dots formed? And then he's saying, oh, okay, this is now set. But initially it was not a set. But then as the trade progressed, then he called it, yeah, it's a step. So that was very confusing because I was under the impression that I can just go with the dot, but right now I'm thinking there are two separate ways. When do you know it's a step and when do you know it's the other one?
You should never take just one thing, ever. Like, I don't care what anybody tells you. And again, I'm sure there are people who are much smarter than me and have more experience than me. But if you're asking me, you are never, ever, ever, ever allowed to only use one confirmation. Because one confirmation is kind of like putting $100,000 in your hand and then saying, I really, really hope that, you're putting it all in one basket. You're putting it all on one thing. And bear in mind, these dots,
those dots,
we can break through them. So these were dots. So just because we have dots, it doesn't mean it's going to go down forever. We have dots here, and it went up. Technically, these dots were right. Technically, most of the time, they're going to be right. But we just don't know if they're right for enough. So this was only right for 17 pips, which is it's still enough to become a millionaire. I mean, you only need like 10 pips to make a lot of money. But either way, we're never, ever going to only use one confirmation. So when Pat's talking about the Stairmaster, he's talking about something like this. Triple arrows on the 1 hour, and we get green dots for a buy. This is a Stairmaster trade. Triple arrows on the 1 hour, and we get green dots for a buy. And again, we have other confirmations too. We don't just have one. This is a trade. So we have our triple arrows and the Stairmaster, the support and SuperEZ SR, it's a sell. We come over here, we still have triple arrows, right? These haven't disappeared. And then we get another seller's dot, that's a sell. When he's talking about the Stairmaster, he's talking about this. So we're in a seller's, we're selling according to the triple arrows, and we get purple dots, we're selling it. We're selling according to the triple arrows, it's in line with the trend, and now we get our little dots, we're selling it. But we're not only trusting the dots. We still look to other confirmations. We're never, ever only trusting one thing. I love certain things a whole bunch, but even me, I mean, the ADX is really accurate. The ADX and the money tree string line, super accurate. You get a super naked chart and you just use those, you're gonna have a high level of success. But I'm not willing to place
I was just thinking about the dots showing up. Immediately the dots showed up, I just came out of the trade. So you're saying the step master is quite different from the other one that I was doing, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So this is a triple arrow signal, if we want to call it that. We're looking for enough pieces of evidence to take it for a buy.
Right.
We're going to either leave it open if that's your trading style, or we're going to go for maybe half of the ADR or 2 times the ADR, depending on what time frame.
Okay.
And that is a trade. Another form of trading is when you see the dots in the same direction, then you're taking it in the same direction. But you're never just saying, hey, I got a dot, I'm going to sell it, and that's it.
I got it.
Does that help?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm glad. Let's see, to use. So the gentleman in the chat who asked about Asian session, you can trade Asian session. You need to go for a lot less pips. You need to make sure that you're trading pairs that are active during the Asian session. And sorry, I just stuttered, such as JPY, Australia, and New Zealand. So yes, you can trade the Asian session. There's quite a few things that trade very well in the Asian session in general, but they're not super volatile pairs, and they're not super, you gotta trade at the right time, which is the beginning of the Asian session, like after that first hour, and then that last maybe 2 hours, right over the Frankfurt crossover. Those are 2 good times to trade the Asian session. This center time isn't so great. It's the least amount of volatility. So I hope that answers your question. All right, next question. Let's see. You guys can step up and ask your questions.
Hey, Jenny.
Mike first, and who is the gentleman behind him?
Milo.
No, I just was going to ask, I believe that the candle did close under the 50 on
This
the 1
one?
hour for gold.
Oh, it did close, yeah. What I was going to show you, but then I was helping Connie, is, again, most of the stuff works if you follow enough confirmations. See how we broke that previous low? We're going to come back up and retest a little bit. Let's go to the 1 hour chart. It closed below it. I mean, well, I don't know. Does that count as closing below it? Barely, but it did technically close below it, huh? I mean, it barely closed below it, but technically it did. But see how this happened over here? We want it to close.
Oh.
So take this. This closed below it, right? This isn't like a maybe baby. This isn't all the way closed to below it. Let's look back in time. This closed above it. This one was a maybe baby. See it? Like that. Does it count? Yeah, it does. But if you want to be sure that you're sure, you want it to close.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing here. This closed. This one was a maybe baby. And then look what happened. So how that one closed right now, and I'll show you one more. Again, it kind of closed maybe baby, even one more maybe baby, and then it closed. This is what I'm looking for. And you'll notice the difference, so just test that. Like I said, so all these are maybe babies, and then it actually closed. This isn't a great one, but out of all the examples I just showed you, most of them are accurate, probably somewhere around 80% are super accurate. When it closes, then it moves. When it closes, this is a maybe baby. Well, this one did not because of the wick. This one technically, these did, but nothing happened. It's actually closed. Do you see the difference?
Absolutely.
So no maybe babies. You want it to close.
Okay.
Okay. I hope that helps.
Absolutely.
I would keep an eye on it, and it's a high risk trade. You have to know the difference between a low risk and a high risk. This is definitely a high risk because of the news alone, and also gold is more risky. But if we go to the 30-minute chart, let's see. Let it load. It broke below this fractal on the 30-minute chart. So it broke below because it was kind of like ranging or making a flag or whatever you want to call it. It broke below it with some power. I mean, what it does next, we'll have to see. I do like how it rejected on the ADX. I like how it retested on the 50. In general, I like this trade for a sell. It's been ready. We'll see what happens, but I do like this trade. We're not quite at 50% of that candle, but that's what I'd be looking for. Because that's the tightest entry you're going to have. And then I'd put my stop loss. you have to decide that you need some room to play. But if it breaks above this area, then you need to get out anyways. So, yes, sir. Milo, go ahead.
Hello, Jenny. I was just very curious about the story that you started the chat with about the individual who flipped an account from a very small margin into over 6 figures in a span of only 3 weeks. And you said that the main thing she used was compounding, and I was wondering if you could like just pretty much explain that one to them.
Okay, so let me get off of this. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep the recording. Let me open this up real quick. Hold on, I'm going to my iPad and I'll kind of dialogue what I'm doing. I want to make sure I'm on the right compounding chart. Cancel spreadsheets, got it. So I'm going to go to stop share, new share. Oh, I got to sign into Wi-Fi though. See, wait for it, and screen mirror, zoom. Zoom, gotcha. Has anybody been looking like looking at GN? Okay. So I was on a call with somebody today, so that's why I have all this written out, and I guess I can leave it there. But this is the more complicated version. Can you guys see that okay? It's kind of bright, huh?
Yeah, we can. It's a little blurry though.
Okay, but so the problem is with most of us, including myself, I am definitely not exempt from this. The problem is we have a $150 account and we're growing it. We keep end up using some crazy lot size. We do our 0.7. When we get super confident, we might do a 0.16, and then we go back to a 0.12 because we took some losses. We might get up to the 0.5 and we're like, hey, we're doing good, but we take a loss, so we go back to the 0.09. And like really all we're doing is playing with money. And can anybody on this call admit that's what you're doing? Like you're doing this all over the place? Does anybody agree to that? Or maybe they're just sticking with really small numbers and
I was
it?
doing that. I was doing that for the first week, and after the second week, I just kept going after I lost.
Okay, I'm guessing, I mean, I can't see on my Zoom here because I'm on my other thing, but I'm guessing if all y'all were speaking up, most of us can admit that we do a 0.01 and then we do a 0.03 and then we do a 0.2 and we just kind of play in this area. But if we've been trading for 2 years, why are we still playing in this area? Okay, for some people who maybe take standards, they're here, right? But that's all they're doing. And if all you're doing, even if all you're doing is standards, what's the point? Like, what's the point of trading? Not, I mean, unless you're coming to the table with $10,000 to $50,000, you know, what's the point? All you're going to do is make your 100, 500, then you're going to lose 100, and make your 300, then you're going to lose 50. Essentially, all you're doing is playing in here. And that's kind of maybe a good way to explain it. I don't know. I hope that helps somebody. The difference in compounding is, look, I'm going to go back to this one. You're going to take some losses. There's no way you're not going to take some losses. Okay? But notice this growth. That's 24,000% growth. I'm just going to round it up. And that's with some major losses, right? That's with huge losses. The reality is, even if you have, so Edward, you have an 88%, correct?
Yeah, I do.
Who wants to do the math? What is 88% of 35 trades? Here, I'll use my phone. Let's find out. 0.88 times 35. That means you would lose approximately 4 to 5 trades, right? 1, 2, 3. Hey, Charles, it's really sweet that you're singing to your baby. Charles. Hey, guys. Oh, that's so adorable. Okay, so I went ahead and muted you, Charles, but it's really cute that you're singing to your little ones there. That's adorable. But we definitely don't want to eavesdrop on that. So if you guys want to speak up and you're not singing, go ahead and unmute yourself. So if you want to. But like I was saying, okay, so if we just decided that even with his current rate, which has a little bit of room for improvement, if he has an 88% accuracy, and this is using somebody other than me, right? Other than me, and you lost 5 trades, okay? Typically, in my experience, you lose most of your trades in this like 3-week period. I don't know what it is, but I think like it's just the axiom of trading. You go through these first 2 weeks, you compound real high, and then that anywhere from 2.5 to 4 week mark, you end up taking some losses. This is what decides the keep goers and the winners from the losers, if you can continue to go on. But here's the deal, if you continue to grow, again, this is up $100 account, that's 40,000% increase. And this isn't super high lot size, this is just $100 to 6 figures based off of a 22% growth per trade, based off of a small amount of pips, or a slightly larger one for fast movers. And this is in 35 trades. Most of us can easily find anywhere from, to be conservative, 2 to 5 trades a day that give you 10 pips without a whole bunch of effort. Like most of us can do that if we're being honest. The market moves 10 pips about 100 billion times a day on every pair included. So either way, even if we took some losses based off of somebody else's accuracy ratio, not mine, here's the deal, based off of us not always hitting our goal. So you'll notice some of these ones that I typed in on that call I did earlier, they're not always hitting the goal, okay? Some days you hit short, right? Some days you have a 0 day. So this day I'm gonna put 0. This day I'm gonna put 2,000, because this is about what it will really look like. Okay, this day you came shy of your goal. Okay, the point is as you do this, okay, it's not that hard. It really isn't. So I was on a call this morning, a guy, I don't know, I think he had 20,000 in one trade, by the way. One trade, $20,000. He started that account with, I don't remember, a couple $100. And this is like week 2 or 3, I don't know. But this is not impossible. So let's say this is all we did and we failed, or maybe we were busy, or our family was in the hospital. Is $100 worth a 65,000% increase? Because that's what it is. And this level of growth is possible on a 500 to 1 leverage. If you're going to go any higher than a 20-ish%, you would need a higher leverage broker, which means you need high accuracy. If you're going to go any higher than that, what was I going to say? You can't be in more than like 2 to 3 trades at a time or you'll blow your account. This is high risk trading. But if any one of us are being honest, I know that some of us are not from, super privileged countries. I know that some of us are not from America. I know that some of us, $200-300 a month is life-changing amounts of money, whereas other ones of us, we need like $5,000 to $10,000 a month, or it's not even worth looking at. But here's the reality. I can guarantee that every one of us on this call has spent $5, $10, $50, $100 on a pair of shoes, or on McDonald's or Starbucks, or going out to a restaurant we didn't need, buying a purse or a new coat, or whatever else we had to have, that kitchen gadget. Sorry, I'm a girl, so you boys might want to think of some boy toys or car parts or paintball guns or whatever up your alley. But all of us have wasted $100 way more than one time in our life. I don't care where you're from. So even if you blew this a couple of times, is it worth potentially coming out with 6 figures?
Yeah.
That's the concept. This really isn't impossible. It's not, this isn't a foreign concept. If we go back to the charts, you guys can see how often a 10 pip move happens. If you have the time to watch it, I recommend you stay in it, provided that the candles stay on the right side of the EMA, the 8 EMA. So as long as price doesn't close above it or below it, depending on whether you're buying or selling for that flip-flop strategy, go ahead and hold that trade if you have time to watch it. If not, have your take profit set. Always move your stop loss into profit, which would make this end up being closer to like 40 trades, give or take, maybe even 45, because some of them will close out so early. But the plus side of it is you're also not going to have very many losses at all. Like, you won't have those losses. And if you can get through this period, because this period is usually the hard period. And I've worked with a couple people. So one guy grew his account. He was at to over 10,000% growth. And he hit that 3rd week and then he just crashed. The thing is, his account is still bigger than where he started it to whatever 2 or 3 weeks ago. But this week tends to kind of separate the people who have what it takes from the people who are going to quit. And when you have a loss, all you would do is go back to the lot size that was supposed to be for, so if your account balance is like 1900 instead of 2500, you're going to want to use the lot size that was meant for that account number or for that account size, if that helps you or makes sense. And the same concept with swing trading. Swing trading is if you're going for 55 pips, you're going to use this lot size all week long, well, 555 pips for all the trades you take and stack. The following week, you're going to use this lot size for the entire week for any trades you take the following week. And this is the one I actually did. This is the trade plan that I actually followed. And yes, I was able to accomplish those numbers. It's not hard. It just takes, Derek, you raised your hand. Where did it go? Hold on. I lost control. There it is. Go ahead and ask your question, Derek.
Yeah, so we just put whatever is in our account at the beginning balance, and we sort of work from there with the defining what lot size to use depending on how many active trades we have going at once.
Well, this isn't when you're actually compounding. So a trading plan and rules, sorry to get off topic, but maybe it's for the best for everybody, but trading plans and rules, they're going to keep you disciplined. If you're just playing, like I was saying with this, kind of just bouncing around lot sizes, it doesn't matter if you're in 12 different pairs, okay? It doesn't matter if you're in 12 pairs if this is your lot size, right? It really, really, really matters if you're in like 4 or 5 pairs when your lot sizes are actually growing with each lot size, with each pair you take. So if you're doing any one of these compounding charts, you really can't afford to be in like 4 or 5 trades at a time. That's not possible. I mean, if you have 3,000 or 2,001 leverage, sure you can, but just so you know, you're already trading a high risk level of percentage of gain. Don't add insult to injury by over trading and putting like 5 active trades in that account.
Gotcha. But if we have the sizable money to trade and we're not being too risky, then we can obviously have more active trades.
Ooh, so if you, like for instance, like let's limit this. Let's say that you're going for 5% per trade. Okay. Yes, you can have 5, 6 pairs in there at a time. But just so you know, look at the difference in your growth.
Gotcha.
So is it, and this is based off of per trade, so that kind of comes on the wash. But if this is all you're growing, everybody wants to be in every move, but why not like take your time to find the best 2 or 3 moves? And then maybe meet in the middle. I wouldn't go for 5%. I would go for maybe 15%. At least that's cost effective and worth it.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
If you're not in here to pay off a house or walk away from your job or retire your mama, if you're not in here to make a substantial amount of money or to, I don't know what it takes for you to live, if it's 3,000 or 5,000 or 1,000, but if you're not in here to make that level of money, you can do this driving for Uber.
Oh no, I'm in there. I'm in there for NBA money.
Okay, then you got to trade like you mean it. The difference between the people who are succeeding and the people who are just still playing after 5 years is a lot of them, including myself. I am 1,000% guilty of that. I am not exempt. I didn't know what I didn't know because no one told me, and maybe they did, but I wasn't ready to hear it, or I didn't have the belief, or whatever it was. But if we just stay playing and think about it, if we're being honest, this is what most of us do. We play somewhere in here, and then in 5 years, we might have a few withdrawals. We might not have. I talked to a lady today who has had no withdrawals after many years of trading, right? So this is the real story. This is what they're doing versus actively having rules and actually increasing your lot size with every trade. This is the point of Forex. If we're growing our investment, then the awful 401k can do a better job than we can. And that's just the reality of it. If we're not going to grow that $100, we may as well give it to the bank and take the 2% they're giving us. That probably sounds a little harsh, but that's, if we don't get a little real about this, we're never going to hit these numbers.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I was just trying to see how to properly utilize the chart. That was the part I didn't understand at first. But,
So this is based off of per trade. You could technically do it per day. The lady who had a lot of success, she did do it per day. I personally don't do it per day because I know myself well enough to know that on days that I hit a loss, I end up just I'm still human. I'm still a mental and emotional person. I end up looking at a trade that looks perfect in my mind, but we would call it revenge trading because it wasn't perfect. I took it anyways, and then I lost even more, right? I don't do it per day because on days that I hit all of my goal, I still trade anyways because I feel so good. On days that I don't hit my goal, I still trade anyways because I didn't hit my goal. Now I want to hit my goal. So like mentally and psychologically, I don't know why, but for me, that way does not work for me. For some people, it does work for 50 pips and then they stop. So if your goal was like 44 pips in a day, or wrong computer screen, sorry guys, and then you stop trading when you hit 50 pips every day, if you have that kind of discipline, more power to you. I honestly don't. I kept messing up because on days that I did super well, I continued to trade because I was like, cool, I'm going to double it. I'm going to triple it. I'm going to trade for the week because I'm on fire. And then on days that I didn't do well, all of a sudden I saw the perfect setup anyways. And we call that revenge trading when I continue to keep trading even after I've already lost enough. And then I was losing on both sides of this plan, if you want my story. So I do this per trade. If I lose the trade, great. If I win the trade, no biggie. Because even if this took me an extra however many trades, if this took me an extra 10 trades, I'll still walk away with 6 figures. So I'm okay with that.
Gotcha.
There's no time limit on it. And then I'm not desperate. Like on days like today, we had some stuff come up with the house that we're selling. We've had life happen, and just life happens on days that you didn't have the time or couldn't find it, or maybe the market went against you. You're not tripping because you're good. That's how I see it, but whatever way works for you is great for you.
Gotcha. I think I know how to use it. I'm going to play with it, and I'm ready to go live next week. I'll be ready to rock and roll.
All right, awesome. I hope that answers your question. Kat, you had asked what time frame. Everyone's a little different, but I like it to close above the 50 on the 1 hour or below the 50 on the 1 hour. My personal preference, that's how I decide the trend. You guys can decide to see the trend however you want to, but I needed some consistent way to measure what I would consider a trending market. And the more I Googled and the more videos I watched, I couldn't find one. Everyone has 1,000 different ideas, and most of them are pretty good. Most of them make sense, at least to some degree. But I needed something for me that I could say was consistent. And you can draw a trend line, obviously, and that does work. So you have some options. But for me, I just wanted to keep it super simple and say, okay, if this was below the 50 on the 1 hour, I'm looking for buys. If it's below the 50 on the 1 hour, I'm looking for sells. So that's what I do personally. I hope that answers your question. Austin, you asked about Euro Odd, Euro CAD, and Euro NZD. We did look at Euro Odd and Euro NZD, but I'm going to stop this share. Wait a minute, any other questions on the spreadsheet? Anybody else before I close this screen and go to another?
Yes, actually, I have
yes,
a
Jenny.
question.
So just one quick question.
Hey, my
If
love.
I downloaded, yeah.
Go
If I
ahead.
downloaded from the SuperEZ Forex, like I just did, and I'm trying to like change the account balance, it's like not updating. Do I need to like download it as an Excel, like as a different file? Or?
Are you on a Windows?
Yeah.
Okay, so first off, go to the notification channel to find the original document. And I would love for everyone to repost it and be all nice and loving and kind. But the problem with people doing is now we're getting like 15 different bajillion versions of files, rules, folders, and even indicators. So please do your due diligence independently and go to the notification channel. Find the one that says Forex Sell, because we had one of the team members who's constantly helping me out with some of the Windows stuff. He actually converted it to an Excel file, so it's perfectly formatted and it's formatted right. However, there's some other versions that are not formatted right that are floating around, and I can't help you with those.
Okay, I'll look at it.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I can't. If I could just repost it, that'd be great. But even when I try to do that, we end up reposting one of the remade somethings that somebody attached to something, and then you don't have the original. So we have the original one for Apple and the original one for Excel. Nicely in the notification channel. That's where you gotta go to get it. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. DJ, what's your question? I'm gonna get a drink of water so you can talk for a minute.
Okay, so where the 11 and 22 is at on the spreadsheet, that's where you put your stop loss at, right?
No, sir.
No, how would you determine that?
Oh, you're asking like how big your stop loss would be?
Yeah, so I mean, say I see your trade, I'm like, okay, it's 30 pips out. That's what my stop loss is going to be. So do I just adjust that number up there, and that would adjust the lot size for me?
Over here? Or
no, on the count, yeah, over there where you have to highlight it at.
Oh, no. So this is based off of what you're going for. This is not based off of what you're risking. So in theory, you should be having a risk to reward ratio of at least 1-to-1 at the bare minimum. So like if you were going for 11 pips, you don't want your stop loss much more than 11 pips, but this is how much you're going for. But you have to know in terms of scalping, typically your stop loss is larger than your take profit because you have to give the market room to breathe.
Oh, okay, so okay, I see what I've been doing.
This isn't about your stop loss. This is about what you're actively going for. So if you're going for 22 pips, keep in mind, this all comes out in the wash because every pair is a little different, spreads, commissions, fees, and whatever. So when you calculate this out, it's not going to be dollar for dollar. But if you're going for 22 pips, let's just give that for like a GBP pair, or your NZD is a fast mover, or anything that's a faster mover, and you're going for 22 pips on that trade, this is your lot size. So this would be aggressive, very aggressive trading.
Okay, so I guess that's what I'm confused about is that the way I thought we were supposed to calculate our risk is we take how much we're willing to lose per trade and then divide that by the stop loss. But if we do it this way, then we're totally throwing out the window.
So there's a bajillion ways to calculate your stop loss. You can go to the previous support and resistance. You have to decide how much you're willing to risk. But this is a high risk. Compounding is a high risk activity. There's no way around that. So whether or not we're using our weekly growth, this one's a lot better risk to reward, so it's much easier because generally speaking, you're letting these trades run. So your stop loss would be like 40 to 50 pips, but you're getting 200 or 300 pips, right? So your risk to reward is like a 6-to-1 or 1-to-6 or however you say that. But in this scenario, your risk to reward is great. You could determine your stop loss. You could determine your lot size based off of what you're willing to risk per trade. That is what you're doing in terms of basic trading. In terms of scalping and in terms of compounding, this is based off of how many pips we're going for. So whatever your stop loss is, yeah, your risk per trade is high. It is very high. Whoopsie. So if you're going for 11 pips, I mean that's the smallest one. Think of it this way. This is aggressive. Okay, this is very aggressive. I probably should have put a V in front of that. Very aggressive, right? Kinda. Little bit. Conservative, right?
Okay, so then the more pips you're going for, then that's probably going to be more so for the higher time frames then?
Yes. So if you're looking for more pips, you're looking for higher time frames, period. Or you're looking for faster movers.
Got it. Okay, I see where I've been going wrong. Thank you. I appreciate that, Jenny.
You're welcome. I really hope that helps. But yeah, this is how many pips you're going for. But yeah, no matter how you're looking at this, compounding is a high risk activity. All right, next question.
Really helped me right there. I'm glad you put that there, Jenny. Thank you.
You are welcome. Okay, so somebody wants me to go over the weekly chart. So I have this set up in 4 different categories. I'm going to make it really tiny to show you first, and then I will zoom out. So we have, maybe I should write this on whatever too. Okay, this is aggressive. Whatever. I can't type either. Okay, we have a small account balance. Okay, so I'm just going to type this in. To give you an idea, somebody who has $1,000 to start with, which not everybody has $1,000 to start with, this was considered conservative because we're going for a smaller percentage of growth. When our percentage of growth is smaller, then our risk is smaller. When our percentage of growth is higher, then our risk is higher. So that's just kind of common sense across the board. The reason why this is able to be smaller and more conservative is because you're starting with more money. So you have more money to play with. You have more money to grow and compound. So based off of this, even going off of a smaller amount of pips, your lot size is not that large, right? Not comparatively speaking, versus a large amount of pips. So again, this would be your aggressive, conservative, aggressive, conservative. Because in order for you to hit this, your lot size is bigger. So the bigger the lot size, the more aggressive you are, right? The smaller the lot size, it means you need to have a lot more pips. It needs to be one of those ones that run and run and run. That's more conservative, just to kind of give you an idea. So this is your more conservative side. This is your more aggressive side across the board. So if you had more money to go start with, you're using a more conservative amount of percentage of growth. Now you can again decide between conservative, kind of moderate, and absolutely, well, sorry, aggressive, kind of moderate, and conservative, right? So if this is the trade I'm looking for, this is very slow. This is not even that hard. It's not even that out of this world. You've seen some of mine and Irving's screenshots, a couple other people in the group. Most of us who have been around a long time aren't going to post a lot of profits because we know that there's so many legalities attached to that it gets us in a lot of trouble. So I was posting my pips per week, and they're within the group on average anywhere from 1,000 to even up to 3,000 pips per week. Very, very doable. So when I say 900 pips, when you're stacking a couple of trades and you're only picking 4 to 5 a week, very, very easy to do. Your entire week, you'd be using this lot size. Your ending balance, your weekly profit, you'd want it to be about 700. Again, it comes out in the wash, target balance, and there you go. And again, you do the same thing the next week. The thing about the weekly compounding chart is because some of these trades are swing trades and they're going to last for longer than a week, your first week is not going to come close. So that kind of tripped a lot of people out. A lot of times your second week is also not going to come close because keep in mind, some of these trades are still running into this week. But either way, you're looking for 4 to 5 trades, give or take. You're stacking them anywhere from 2 to 4 times, 2 to 3 times maybe if you're new, and you're letting them run. One of them has a take profit and a higher lot size. One of them is a runner. The idea is you're going to let this run all the way until you see the big arrow appear again on the 4-hour chart. And essentially that could be, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks in general. With most pairs, I don't know for sure, but give or take. So this first week, you're going to fall short by at least half. But the next week, some of these other, you're looking for 4 to 5 trades again, stacking anywhere from 2 to 4 times. And you're going to use this lot size if you're going for a smaller amount of pips, or this lot size if you're going for a larger amount of pips. You're going to use this all week long. And then again, by this week, some of these other trades will have closed. And again, we're always moving our stop loss into profit, so we're kind of protecting the bag. We don't have to worry about over leveraging because even though we're in 7 trades, even though we're in 7 trades, sorry, I'm losing my voice, then it's okay because 4 of them are already protected, so those are considered risk-free trades. So week 3 comes, and again, we're going to stay in our lane. If we chose this lane, we're going to stay in our lane throughout the entire 12-week period. So if we chose this lane, we're going to stay in this lane. We're not going to go from conservative. We're not going to start here and then go here and then go here and then go here as we go down. If we chose aggressive, we're going to stay in the aggressive lane the entire time. If we chose the more conservative approach, where we need more pips, we're going to stay in this lane the entire time. But as the weeks go on, you're going to have somewhere in and around high 6 figures up to 7 figures in slightly over 12 weeks. Notice, 12 weeks is, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room because, again, so iPhone, who asked about how do you know the maximum amount of trades you can be in, I should not answer that, and I can, but nobody really should because there's too many variables. I don't know who your broker is. I don't know what your leverage is. I don't know what pairs you're trading because every pair has a different value. So now that I've got that disclaimer out of the way, a little side note is to watch your margin percentage. As long as you keep your margin percentage above anywhere from 300 to 500 bare minimum, you're not going to get a margin call. Once you get close to that 300 range, and that's pushing it, to be honest, on most accounts I keep it above 500% available margin, then you're not going to get a margin call. That's how you'll know if you are in too many trades with too much of a lot size for your account. But anything that anybody else says, unless they have all of your data, which nobody really should, they should not be answering that question for you. You've got to know that yourself. So there's that answer. But that's how this weekly one works. And it works very, very effectively. It's super low stress. It's not a lot of pressure. Pick a couple of trades. At least one of them will hit a stop loss. But again, that's not so bad. So Deandra, sorry if I messed up your name. The 10 to 11 pip moves are looking for the price to break the 50 EMA up or down, or are waiting for the RSI to break the 50 up or down. I already went over that, so you guys can rewatch the recording. In terms of looking for that, there's several different entries you can use, so please rewatch that. I don't want to go over it again in all fairness. It is in there. You've got your faster entry and your slower entry. It's up to you which one you want to take. Both of them have their pros and cons. There is no wrong answer. But when you decide rules, you need to stick with them for 30 days to find out how well they work.
Hey, Jenny, you ready to close out the chart?
Okay, show me.
Okay, one last question. When you said you stack your trades, I already seen the example before when you said you do the 22, 44, 77, but then you switch up to the 2 lot sizes. When you stack them using this spreadsheet, would you put the same lot size according to your spreadsheet on each of your positions on that same pair, or would you divide that into different percentages of that lot size? You understand what I'm saying?
I do. That's a really good question, and I thank you because I did not go over that. So when it says you're going, sorry, I'm trying to control it with my computer. When it says 0.13 and you're taking Euro USD and you're stacking, please don't stack 4 times. Most people don't have the capacity to do that. So, I mean, I did, but either way, once or twice is good until you get a little bit more proficient or have a trade manager. It's really hard to manage 16 trades at a time, in all fairness. So let's say you're stacking this 2 times. The entire amount you should be in for Euro USD is 0.13. So one of them could be like a 0.07 and a 0.06, or one of them is a heavier and that's a 0.09, and that's the one that's going to close out quicker. And that really helps in terms of compounding and growing your growth and keeping your margin level percentage good. And then the other one is, a 0.04. So you can divide it however you want. You can do a heavier one that's a runner or a heavier one that's a quicker take profit. But yes, your total amount you should have on that one pair is a 0.13. And that's all week long. So if you took 4 pairs that week, you took Euro USD and GBP CAD and, I don't know, NZD Chef, let's say you took those 3, then literally every one of those only has 0.03 in total. So that's how much you have going on that account altogether. Does that answer your question?
Oh, and so not per pair?
No, that's per pair. So Euro USD would have a 0.07 and a 0.06. NZD Chef would have a 0.07 and a 0.06. And GBP Odd would have a 0.07 and a 0.06.
Gotcha.
Per pair you're taking, you're dividing it up for that pair. You're only entering 3 to 4 pairs at a time.
Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome. I'm sorry I didn't go over that. And guys, even with the 500 to 1 leverage, this is possible. You'll notice that this one, because I didn't go over that either, smaller account balance, higher percentage, that's more aggressive. So again, we have to have way more pips in order to accomplish that. We can't get away with these smaller amount of pips because your lot size is just too big to grow it. This doesn't look very big, but when you compound that over 4 pairs stacked 2 times, all running for long amounts of time, it is very, very big. And you'll notice that this becomes substantially different as you get bigger. So, and again, starting with $200, very, very doable.
Hey,
Jenny, what is those numbers on top, like the 777999? What is that for?
I'm a silly girl, so you can make this whatever you want. If you want to make this 700 pips, you can do that. If you want to make this 1,000 pips, you can do that. I just like my really weird repeating numbers. I think that they're kind of, they're called angel numbers. So I like them. I'm just weird like that. You can make it whatever you want.
Okay.
Sorry. It's one of those things. I like it. But yeah, that's how many pips you're going for per week. So I like my random numbers. I don't like just plain even numbers. So yes, it makes it fun. There was another gentleman speaking up behind Deja.
Oh, you already answered it. I was going to ask, because you were talking about entering trades for multiple pairs, but you just said that that would be the amount of pips that you would go for the week.
Yeah, and most of the time you guys will hit this. So if you, even if you have some slower movers, but in like CAD JPY, for example, and you held it all week, you got to think 3 times the ADR of that pair is give or take 150. And let's say you let it run, one of them closed out with your 20 or 30 pip take profit. Again, these are just guesstimates, but for conversational purposes. So on a super slow mover, you got approximately 180 pips, right? And then on a faster mover, you know, GBP, when it makes a drop, it drops 400 pips, right? So on that one, let's say you only caught 300 of that. I'm trying to be under promise so we can over deliver is what I'm kind of going for here. So on 2 pairs, you're already up to give or take, you know, 400 or 500 pips, right? But keep in mind you had a GBP stacked too, so yeah, definitely at least 500 pips. So now your third one is kind of a mid-range one. Let's say it's Euro USD. That one moves about 70, 80 pips a day. So that first one, it closed out with your 50 pip take profit, and then the second one was a runner. Let's say that one only traveled 100 pips before we got the triple arrows to reverse. Again, so just on those 3, you're already up to 670-ish pips. You add that fourth one, which is a moderate mover, whatever, and let's say you take 1 loss, you know, you're in and around 700 to 800 pips very effortlessly doing that. It is not hard. There was a guy in the group talking about it. He said he just set the trade and then he actually walked away and he was surprised at what happens. But most of us don't have the patience to do that, the tolerance, because we see all these new setups and then we see somebody post, oh my gosh, I got 100 pips, or then we see somebody, hey, check out Euro USD, and we get excited, so we get into another one, then we get a margin call. Like, there's so much mental stuff going on that we don't know how to hold 4 to 5 trades and just let them run. So that's what this spreadsheet does. This and some rules will change your life, just this alone. And what I was saying was this, you start with different account sizes and you have different percentages. So you kind of have a different account size and different percentage based off of different levels of life and areas of the world. Same concept all the way down though, okay? Now I'm gonna get out of this stuff. All right, any other super pertinent questions? Let's see. Let me go to share my VPS. Did I pick that right? No. Can you guys see my VPS? Anybody there? There we go. Okay, the last thing I'm gonna do is look at Euro NZD. We did actually already look at this, so I'm gonna go to look at Euro CAD. CAD has some major news. You guys see what gold is doing? Is pulling back to that 50. Wonder what it's gonna do. So who is the gentleman? Can you guys speak up and ask your questions in terms of the, oh, Austin? Austin, are you there?
Hey, Jenny, can you hear me?
Yep, you wanted to look at Euro CAD for a buy or a sell or what?
Yeah, I was looking at the 4 hour and it looked pretty good, so wanted to know if I should buy. The 1 hour was looking pretty good too.
Do not buy this pair.
A lot of news.
Why? Do you know why?
Let me close this real quick.
It broke support.
There you go, he beat you to it. Can you see on your chart what I see?
Hold on. Oh, I see the support lines, yeah.
So it's making lower lows. This wick right here told us something was happening, and this was like, you know, a long time ago. And of course it was a wick, so we never know what to think of those. But either way, we are officially broken past support. Now that we kind of have that more clear understanding, I'm going to delete this little line I drew. Notice how many wicks we have to the top side right here. We have a couple. Doji, a lot of indecision. But either way, we broke this with more momentum than the last few candles had, right?
Hey, Jen, I don't see your chart right now.
Why not? New share.
I just see the meme.
I could see it.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I see it too.
Can you see it, Austin?
Hold on. Oh, I see you now. You're good. You're good.
Okay. I'm like, everybody else can see it. Okay. So like, look, we broke below support, and either way, the euro is this. Well, this is kind of looking like it might turn around, but either way, we don't want to catch this on an unsafe move. When price makes lower lows, please stop looking for buys. Like, there's no amount of arrows or dots in the world that are going to tell us, because we can, again, go to a naked chart window. Okay. Let's keep this really, really simple, because sometimes it's just the best way to look at this. So on the 1 hour chart, price is below the
50.
Okay. We have a what candle here?
Engulfing.
Engulfing momentum, powerful candle.
You have two of those, actually.
Yeah. This candle is bigger than like all of these. You see that? Like,
Okay.
this is a big move to the downside. So just on this alone, I would not have been looking for buys. I mean, I might have tried to catch it for like my 10 pip and dip kind of thing, but there's no way I'm looking for buys here. No way. It's just not happening. Just on that alone. So now, what's your favorite indicator?
Probably the triple arrow.
Okay, well, I'm not going to put all three of those on here. We can go back to this. Okay. So triple arrows, even if we have triple arrows, let's assume there was triple arrows over here and price went up, kind of a nice little pullback, provided you had out in pips, great. But there's no guarantee price is not going to break below, and it did break below this, right? And then again, it bounced back up. There's no indicators in the world that's going to stop price. So these arrows and these buy-sell lines, if price moves past them, price is moving past them, and that's what's happening with the EuroCAD. Price moved past our previous, if we had a low here, like if we're just naked trading, see that? We broke that hard. We broke it with the wick, and of course it rejected up, but then it played around only to break it. So we have a lot of indecision now. It could go up, but when there's 50 trades to take, why am I going to play with the one that has so much uncertainty? I don't want to play with the one that has a ton of uncertainty.
That went in 5 minutes, 15 minutes. It was
I'm
looking
sorry?
pretty good. It was looking pretty good in the 5 and 15 with the triple arrows, so that's what was tempting me.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, what are you going for, like 3 to 10 pips on the 5 and 15 minute?
Yeah, probably like 10 to 15.
Okay. Well, if that's your strategy, great. But even so, right now I'm on the 15-minute chart. Here's what I see. On the 15-minute chart, I want it to break above the 50. This is the safest move, or above or below it. On the 15-minute chart, see how it broke below our daily dots and our 4-hour dots? This alone would have had me staying away from this pair. So I don't know what time you saw this. I'm assuming you're looking at a buy now, right? And there's a good chance I'm wrong. Like, I'm okay being wrong. But here's the thing. I just don't want to play with such uncertainty, because I'd rather take gold for a sell than take this.
Okay.
Just so you know kind of what. And it doesn't make me right. It doesn't make any of us any better, because we're one guy's selling, one guy's buying, and they both think they're right. So, I mean, we're all human, but for me, I would risk gold with all that crazy news if I was going to take a high-risk trade before I would see this right here. Before I even got to over here and whatever it is you're seeing that's saying buy, sure, we've got momentum facing up, ADX facing up, might break the zero, 2 pieces of news. But here's the deal, we just broke major resistance, because it wasn't this resistance, we broke it over here. This resistance was a couple of hours and days worth according to the hour chart.
And that point you made about the daily dots, is that something you were saying that because it broke, we wouldn't want to buy? Is that what you were saying?
No, that's correct. If it breaks below the daily dots, stop looking for buys.
Okay, is that something Pat hands out? I'm kind of, I don't have that set up yet. I'm trying to get that set up.
Okay, which setup? The daily dots or the?
Daily dots.
Okay, so what people are doing is they're using this, they're using the support and SuperEZ SR.
Okay.
And they're dragging it on their charts twice. So the first time you're going to put 4 hours.
I went over that before. Not bad.
Yep.
I got you.
It's okay. That's all I'm here for. So I know you guys aren't getting a bunch of live trades, but the point here is to kind of answer all of the questions and MT4 issues. And well, I'm not going to fib when I say Irving is the definite MT4 guru, but either way, to be here to answer questions that some people can't make it to that morning call. So that's really all I'm trying to do here. But just so you guys know, I don't care what, we could have all triple arrows and buy sell lines and our SARs and our ADX. If I'm looking for a trade, I'm going to brave almost any other trade than the one that just made a lower low. Because you're trading against the trend. You're going against momentum. The whole point, there's no way, even if we all have billion-dollar accounts, that us little guys are going to be enough to move the market. I mean, this is where the banks are taking it. Your job is to go with it. You're not trying to push it because we're not strong enough to push it. Our job is to
Jenny, I got the auto trend lines and it's bouncing off those lines. I think that's what's throwing me off.
Oh, the channel.
Yeah, and it's kind of bouncing off the bottom. So from what I'm looking at, I think it's going just switching with the trend within the auto trend lines.
And it might. Well, yeah, you're also on the 15-minute time frame. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, how's your accuracy with those?
I mean, I don't really have a good gauge because I've literally made one trade since I joined 2 days ago. But
okay, so then don't answer that. But so pick what your eyes see best. What I would tell anybody else is we have a ton of stuff. There's a ton of free stuff, and then of course Pat's group has a ton of stuff. But whatever ones your eyes and your mind understand best, let's take those. Let's create some rules based off of it, and then actively follow those. I mean, religiously for 30 days. If you don't like the way the auto trend lines work, take them off, and that's not a bad thing. So take them off and just try it without it. I mean, this could have pulled back, absolutely. Is there a good chance it might pull back to the 50? I don't know. It's still going down. Yeah, but that's barely enough to cover your spread. I mean, what broker are you using?
using Coinex.
Well, then you're good. You're good. I mean, yeah, using Coinex, could you probably get when the ADX lines up? Yeah, you could probably get a few, but even the ADX is telling us to sell. Do you see what I see? So sellers are pointing up. Now momentum broke above the 20.
I think the mixture of you not having the auto trend lines and then also you have the daily dots that just kind of gives you a whole different perspective from what I'm looking at.
Here, the daily dots, it's just a different indicator that we were trying to format. It's not working, just so you guys know. But it's the same concept. So I also have two sets of SuperEZ dots in here. One of them set for 4 hours and one of them set for 1 day. So it's still the same thing. Totally same thing. I promise. But this is, see the momentum going down? Are you already in this trade?
No, I didn't join it.
Okay. So yeah, it's just not enough. But you have to ultimately decide what you want to use to trade. What confirmations your eyes see best, and then how many of them you need, how many pips you want to go for if you're a swing trading, scalp trading, or a couple of people that are just using like the money tree string ADX, going for half of the average daily range with the dots, super levels of success, insanely high levels of accuracy. It doesn't take much, but it does take consistent rules that you can follow. So.
Yep, sounds good, Jenny.
I hope that answers your question. I'm glad you didn't buy this. It's not ready. It's making
yeah, I'm glad too.
So you guys, you'll get the hang of it. I mean, it takes time.
Yeah, I'm literally like brand new since like 2 days ago, so I'm definitely gonna watch more tutorials that you posted.
Hey, some of them are long, but that's because I'm on here talking. Like, and paths are getting longer too. They're just long, but all we're doing is trying to answer as much questions as we have. Because we have some people who've been trading for 5 years, and some people have been trading for like they didn't even know what Forex was until they saw YouTube and his video. So like that's a vast kind of different variety of people, if you will. So it is a lot. But guys, I've been on here over 2 hours. I have to bug out early. Good night, Randy. Thank you for coming. Hey, Anthony, the ADX is awesome. I'm glad you like it. But are there any other pressing questions that can't wait till tomorrow night? Going once.
Yes, I do have one final question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Jemiah, is your name?
Yes. I actually entered a trade that's similar to this one. It's the euro odd. Are you saying that also is not ready?
Let's take a peek together. Tell me what you saw. So you entered it for a.
I entered it for buy on the 15-minute.
So how can I say that? So as lovingly and as gently as I possibly can tell you, personally, I don't use the system on the 15-minute time frame. If you want lessons on how to use the system on the 15-minute time frame, I recommend you go to Pat. I personally don't think this is a great 15-minute time frame system. I think this is a highly accurate time frame system for like the 1 hour and the 4 hour. It's very, very accurate. Very accurate. But on the 15-minute time frame, it resets too often. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you would have been going against the trend. So if had you looked at the 1 hour time frame or in the 4 hour time frame, you would have never taken this trade. Because on the 4 hour time frame, well, I guess so, this is saying buy. Whatever, I'm wrong. I didn't know that. But either way, you're making lower lows. So this, let me go back to the 4 hour. Same thing. Guys, if price is making lower lows, you can't fight that. So what do you see looking at my chart right now? Can you tell me what the indicators are doing? Let me go to the current price. What do you see here?
The break of the 50.
And we are now officially
in a sell.
Okay. And this is a pretty powerful candle in general. It's got a wick, which is ugly, but this is a lot of pips. I mean, this is a 71-day average, and in 4 hours, this moved the entire ADR, right? So we see a doji, it might turn around, but then we see another powerful candle. Price is not going to just stall out after a powerful candle in general. Powerful candles mean you're going to have a pullback and it's fallen. You see how this kind of stalls out and then turns around?
Yeah.
It stalls out, it turns around. Price in general doesn't just turn around on a powerful candle. See, price is kind of moving and then it slows down before it turns around. We've got a momentum candle. When you see big candles like that, candles, this is going down, buddy. And it dropped like, it dropped past the resistance. So like you must have got in. What candle did you get in on?
Oh, I got in on the 15-minute.
But how long ago? Like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4?
Maybe like an hour ago. When I saw the triple L's on the 15.
Okay. But do you see this? So well, before I go to the 15-minute chart, I just want you to see this. Ready? This has been support since 6:10. Today is 6:19 according to traders time, right? So for 9 days, price could not break below this point. Now it officially has. We are looking for a drop, right? So let's go to the 15-minute candle. And even on the 15-minute time frame, a huge drop. Do you see this?
Yeah.
And of course, price played around. It kind of came up close to 50%, but not quite. And it dropped. But this time, like I said about the other one, this is ugly to me. I would risk half my account on gold before I'd risk my account on this. And I don't know it all. There are better traders, I'm sure. But all I can do is help you understand the way I see the market to help you learn and grow a little bit too. And either way, what do we see here? So we made a lower low. Came back up, made a lower low. Stalled out, is now making a lower low again, right? So this market is going where?
Oh, it's going down.
And even if you were following the rules to the triple arrow, and I forgot to mention this to the other gentleman, I'm sorry, but you don't have all the confirmations yet. If you're going to take a triple arrow system trade on the 15-minute time frame, you're going to want it to be highly favored, okay? So we did not break above the 0 on the MACD, correct? We have a crossover, but it's kind of weak. We don't have momentum facing back up yet, right? We still don't have momentum facing back up yet. In fact, momentum doesn't start facing back up yet until we go back into a sell. Do you notice this? I mean, maybe right here because hindsight's 20/20, but in general, momentum is not facing back up yet, right?
Yeah.
What do we have? So depending on what indicators, we do not have the 8 and 18 cross according to the original triple arrow system. We do not have a cross of the 35 moving average according to the Uncle Pappy system. We do not have the third little arrow. We only have 2 arrows, not 3. Am I wrong, or is that on here? Let me be sure. Make sure I didn't accidentally delete it. So yeah, my little arrow's on here. So it has not come. So we only have 2 arrows, right?
Oh, it's on mine.
Maybe I could be wrong. Do I not see it, guys? Mm-hmm.
Only see 2.
Yeah, I only see 2. What broker are you on?
Eagles Way.
Well, I don't see it. I didn't see one on the other gentleman's either. I see triple arrows here. I don't see it here. But do you see what I'm saying? And we also have a lot of indecision. So when price is kind of stalling out like this, guys, there's so much. I can only fit so much into a 1 hour or 2 hour call. So let's see if I can do this. Check this out real quick. I'm going to draw you a box. I'm going to go from, let me, and that's not going to work. Okay, well, we're going to erase that and try this again. Do you see that box I just drew?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's kind of awful. I'm on this thing, insert. I know where it's at, maybe. Shapes, rectangle. So if we, depending on how you want to do it, you could technically go from the low to the high. I'm going to try to keep it simple. So I'll go from this low to that high. You would want price to break out of this zone before you'd even really look for a move. If you don't have enough confirmations, you really need price to do something. Right now, price is just kind of consolidating. You don't want to play with that, right?
No.
Because think about it, your $100 account or whatever it's at, this is from 6/18. Well, this is how many hours? So 1,700 to whatever. Almost 12 hours, right? Almost 12 hours worth of consolidating that you could have literally flipped your account 4 or 5 times in, waiting on this one pair. So I know that's a lot for newbies. I'm not trying to overcomplicate it, or I'm just trying to teach you guys so you guys start to see the market a little differently. And again, I do this on a lot of calls. Until price breaks the trend, which it has not done yet. Oh, maybe here. Until price breaks that trend, you're still looking for sells, not buys. So when it breaks it, then you're looking for buys, no matter what your indicators tell you. And if you follow those rules, you'll be extremely successful.
Okay, Jenny.
Yes.
Connie here. That you just made it clear now, because that was what I was asking you, because I would have done the same thing. I saw the dot and I would have gone with it. You see, I get it. Just because the indicators or the dots are there doesn't necessarily mean that you should take the trade.
No, you're right. So we're taking all the evidence, all of our knowledge, all of our skills to the best of our ability.
Right.
We add our indicators in there and we say, okay, we have triple arrows, we have buy sell lines, ADX is pointing in the right direction, MACD is, and now we're waiting for like an engulfing candle, or we're waiting for it to break the trend, or we're waiting for it to break the 50. We're waiting for some solid piece of evidence that says, hey, this is worth putting my house on. And if this isn't a move that you're willing to put your house on, you need to walk away from it. That's how I look at it, because I'm in the real estate, I buy houses. So for me, if this isn't a move that I'm willing to lose my house over, because again, it's totally different lot sizes when you get to bigger accounts, guys, then this is not a move I want to play with. This, again, would terrify me. So I would have stopped looking at this, even just this alone, because I'm like, and this one's being crazy, I don't want to play.
Okay.
Okay,
Just
guys.
answered my question. That is that is wonderful because I'm cracking my brains here. I said, okay. And then when he asked the same thing and he did the same thing, that's exactly what I would have done. But thanks for the correction. I got it now.
Awesome. I'm so glad. Okay, guys, I love you to death, but I'm going to get off now. I've been talking all day long. So I will post this in the group. Keep in mind, Zoom takes some time to upload it, and then I usually don't get to it till tomorrow morning. So, but I wish you guys all a fantastic night. I'm glad you guys can be on here. Even if it's not giving you a trade signal, there's so much you guys can learn. So just keep coming and ask your questions. Like, come hang out with us. After I'm all settled in Florida, we'll maybe start a live trade room and just kind of look at setups together and take some trades, maybe not. But in the meantime, just keep learning. So I hope you guys have a fantastic night.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Jenny.
Thank you.
Welcome. God bless. Take care, sweet dreams.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Good night. Sweet dreams, guys.
Awesome.